the forgotten ape that made gorillas look small. Ever heard of an ape that could tower over modern gorillas? Imagine walking into a jungle and spotting an ape so huge, even a silverback would look like a kid. What if I told you this giant ape really existed? In fact, scientists have discovered evidence of Gigantopithecus blacki, the largest ape that ever lived. This ape was roughly twice the size of the biggest apes today and would make even the mightiest gorilla seem tiny. So how big was Gigantopithecus? And how would its strength compare to a gorilla's? Let's find out. Also, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell to be up to date with the next videos. The story begins in a Hong Kong pharmacy in 1935. A curious German scientist, Gustav von Koenigswald, was digging through piles of dragon bones, popular ingredients for traditional medicine, when he noticed two huge teeth unlike anything he'd seen. These teeth turned out to be fossil molars of a prehistoric ape, way larger than any ape teeth known. As von Koenigswald later quipped, he found these big dragon teeth and realized he was holding the remains of a giant primate. Expanding the search, scientists traced these teeth to limestone caves in southern China. Even porcupines helped the investigation. These rodents were known to haul bones into their burrows and chew on them for minerals. Amazingly, about 2,000 teeth and 4 jawbones of Gigantopithecus have been found in cave deposits. Using these giant teeth and jaws, researchers pieced together the picture of a monstrous ape that once roamed Asia. Scientists even discovered that our fictionally famous King Kong was based on this creature. But unlike Kong, Gigantopithecus never climbed tall buildings. It was content munching bamboo and fruits in ancient forests. Meet Gigantopithecus, the giant ape. So what did Gigantopithecus look like? The fossil evidence suggests it was the biggest primate ever. Various estimates put its height between 9 to 12 feet when upright. By weight, it was also enormous, roughly 440 to 660 pounds on average. That made it, on average, even heavier than any other ape alive or extinct. In one study, researchers described Gigantopithecus as twice the size of the largest modern apes, resembling a supersized orangutan. Modern gorillas, by comparison, are big. A silverback male stands about 5 to 6 feet tall and weighs 440 pounds. To put it in perspective, if a gorilla were the size of a big bear, Gigantopithecus would be a grizzly on stilts. Its huge size is why gorillas, already the heavyweight champs of today's apes, would look like throw pillows next to it. The giant status earned Gigantopithecus the nickname the real King Kong, though it never fought T-Rex or swung from skyscrapers. Instead, it quietly dominated prehistoric Asia's forests. Strength Showdown: Gorilla versus Gigantopithecus. Now for the big question, just how strong was Gigantopithecus compared to today's gorillas? We don't have living apes from the past to test, so scientists use facts and comparisons. Modern silverback gorillas are incredibly powerful. A fully grown male gorilla can reportedly lift over 800 kilograms of dead weight. That's roughly 4 times its own weight. It uses this muscle not in weightlifting contests, but to break bamboo, wrestle rival gorillas, and protect its family. Gigantopithecus was much heavier than a gorilla. If strength scaled with size, which is a bit of a guess, this ape would have been insanely strong. Imagine an animal twice the weight of a gorilla. If a gorilla could lift 800 kilograms, Gigantopithecus might be able to lift even more, maybe well over 1,500 kilograms or around 1.5 tons. In other words, what a gorilla can bench press, Gigantopithecus might lift as if it were a twig. Of course, this is speculation, but its massive size implies unbelievable power. To visualize it, picture 2 silverback gorillas standing on each other's shoulders. That's roughly the height of Gigantopithecus. Now imagine one of them hauling giant bamboo trunks apart with sheer muscle. This giant ape had a huge body and likely monstrous strength with its arms and jaw. Its jaw muscles and teeth were built for crushing bamboo stalks, so they must have been powerful. In short, a Gigantopithecus could probably wreak major havoc in a strength contest. A gorilla might beat you up, but Gigantopithecus could send a gorilla packing. Even though it looked fearsome, Gigantopithecus was an herbivore, a plant-eating giant. All its teeth and jaw shape point to a vegetarian diet. Chemical analysis of its enamel show it ate mostly C3 forest plants, things like fruits, leaves, and stems. In fact, its big flat molars had extremely thick enamel and were worn down by chewing tough vegetation. This suggests it munched a lot of fibrous plants. Scientists believe its diet was largely bamboo. This makes it somewhat like a giant panda of the ape world. A researcher even noted that Gigantopithecus's skull and teeth resembled those of a giant panda, hinting they both specialized in bamboo snacks. Bamboo forests were common in the regions where Gigantopithecus fossils were found, so it likely spent its days crunching through bamboo shoots and stems. It also enjoyed seasonal fruits when it could find them. Some of its teeth even show cavities, likely from eating sweet berries or figs. So don't picture a meat-eating monster. Gigantopithecus was more like King Kong meets Winnie the Pooh, strong as an ox but dining on bamboo and fruit. Its huge strength was used more for feeding and moving through dense forests than hunting. It was an absolute vegetarian powerhouse. Where did he live? Gigantopithecus roamed southern China and nearby Asia when dense forests covered the land. Fossils come mostly from caves in southern China, with a few teeth found as far south as Vietnam and Thailand. The environments were tropical and subtropical forests, with plenty of bamboo groves and fruit trees. Carbon and oxygen isotopes in its teeth suggest it lived in warm, humid, closed canopy forests. Imagine a jungle with high ferns, tall trees, and climbing vines. It appeared on the scene around 2 million years ago and stuck around for a long time. Its remains span up to about 300,000 years ago. That means Gigantopithecus coexisted with early humans, like Homo erectus, for hundreds of thousands of years. However, they likely had different lifestyles. While early humans hunted and gathered, the giant ape just plodded through the forest, nibbling bamboo. There's no solid evidence that early humans ever hunted it. Gigantopithecus simply vanished later due to other reasons. If Gigantopithecus was so great, why did it disappear? Recent science sheds light on this mystery. The oldest Gigantopithecus fossils date to about 2.2 million years ago, but by around 250,000 years ago, the giant ape was gone. A new study suggests it actually went extinct between 295,000 and 215,000 years ago, earlier than previously thought. The key was climate change and habitat loss. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, southern China began to shift from a lush forest to more open savanna-like landscapes. Scientists think forests receded and seasonal grasslands expanded. Gigantopithecus, specialized in forest foods like bamboo and fruits, couldn't adapt quickly to these changes. Its massive body needed huge amounts of plant food. As forests thinned, food became scarce. For instance, bamboo forests periodically die off in cycles, and a giant ape would be especially hard hit by any shortage. Meanwhile, our ancestors, and other species, competed for the remaining resources. Researchers summarize that Gigantopithecus probably went extinct due to climate-driven habitat loss. Unlike the dodo or mammoths, this ape vanished quietly as trees turned to grass. One Nature report notes, the giant ape's demise coincided with a decrease of forest cover and expansion of savanna-like environments in its range. In other words, the roof of the jungle was taken away. Despite its size and power, nature outmatched Gigantopithecus. It lived a long time, but eventually even giants fall when the world changes too fast. Though extinct, Gigantopithecus didn't vanish from human curiosity. It has left a legacy in science and pop culture. For example, the famous story of King Kong, the giant movie ape, was inspired by Gigantopithecus's discovery, and legends of wild hairy giants, like Sasquatch or Yeti, sometimes point to this ape as the real creature behind the myth. In reality, the apes of folklore are just that, folklore. but it's fun to imagine our giant grandpa wandering somewhere still. On the science side, Gigantopithecus teaches us about primate evolution and climate impact. It was a unique experiment, an ape that got really big by eating plants. Its fossils link us to orangutans and help us understand how environmental change can wipe out even successful species. Paleontologists today keep looking for more clues. Fingers crossed for a full skeleton someday. Finally, Gigantopithecus reminds us that Earth has had all sorts of amazing creatures. If something this enormous once existed, it shows real life can be more fantastic than fiction. So next time you see a picture of a gorilla, remember, about 250,000 years ago, a creature wandered Asia that would make that gorilla look like a small monkey. And that, my friends, is a truly towering thought.